Hello friends, welcome back to my art studio. Do you guys remember what our theme is this week? We're gonna do houses, and we're gonna make our houses out of collage, paper collage. All right, so what are we gonna need this week? We want scissors. Wait, these aren't scissors. Hold on. We want scissors and tape and glue and your imagination, right? Okay, cool. Oh, let me tell you too. So you don't necessarily have to have a lot of brand new fancy paper to do this. One thing that I do when I'm thinking up projects and then teaching classes at the art museum and such is I always bring home all of our scrap paper. And I have a folder that I store it all in because I know at some point we're going to want to use this kind of stuff again. So I was able to dive into this paper that already has stuff cut out of it so that you keep reusing and recycling your art materials. They can go a lot further that way, right? Okay, so yeah, save your scrap paper. There's always cool stuff. Even I have some grid paper left over from last week from our math geometric shapes one. Look, I've got some umbrellas. So scrapbooking paper, pattern paper, whatever you have. It's fun to play with again. All right, so let me show you something that I made. I actually made this a couple years ago. They were doing an architecture program with the buildings up at Eagle Point Park, and they were talking about that style, that very streamlined style. And I was in charge of coming up with a kids activity. And I actually made a paper house. And this is kind of collage. We're cutting out the shapes in the paper. My roof comes off. Look at that. This was hard to figure out how to do. How to make a roof, a 3D roof, out of a flat piece of paper. But I have some of this grid paper here. That's like a line of windows up top. I have some colored paper that I made so that it has a little door with a roof over it. I got out some crayons and gave it windows. Gave it a chimney in back. This is fun. So if you want to make, oh, it's floppy. If you want to make a paper house like this, you could even like put in walls on the inside. You could make this into almost like a dollhouse or a model house. Do whatever you want with it. You could play with like Legos or figurines or something in there too, right? So that's cool. Just paper and scissors and tape. That's all I used. All I used to make this. So you could explore that idea too if you want to do something kind of fancy and 3D. Make a model house. Get that architecture idea fermenting in your brain. All right, so books. Yay, books. It's book time. All right, so the first book I was thinking about, I was looking through all our picture books and trying to figure out which ones were using collage. And what does collage mean? It's just cutting up paper into little bits and then taping them down or gluing them down, painting around them, incorporating a bunch of different materials in to make a final piece of artwork. So the first book that I thought of was this one. This is called Dinothesaurus. And it's a poetry book about dinosaur poems. And it's really fantastic. Again, we found this at the library and fell in love with it and said, oh, we have to have a copy for our own home. So let me show you this very first poem that he wrote. And look at this. Do you see how there's little tiny pictures of dinosaurs? And they're all glued in to this shape, this big house shape. So this is actually a dinosaur museum. So he's put his dinosaurs at home in a museum. And I just love how they're all peeking out the windows and saying hi, happy as clams. And there was one more that I wanted to show you in here. So in this case for the collage, oh, can you see that? So shiny. He actually cut out letters. Like fancy letters from like a magazine or, you know, wherever he found this, that he could cut up these letters. And this is a little tiny dinosaur and he's got a really huge name Micropachycephalosaurus. There he is. Here's the little guy right here. And so the author took his name, Micropachycephalosaurus, and wrote it out with cut out letters to make a collaged, you see that? Collaged picture of him. So collage is so much fun. You can just do whatever you want. It's very creative. Just dive in and play. All right, so the other book that I thought of, this book actually has the same artist as my next book. I actually couldn't find a lot of picture books that I own that had collage as the artistic style. But this is Red Sings from Treetops, and this is another poetry book. But the artist is Pamela Zagorensky, and she does collage art. And I just wanted to show you how she was thinking of houses, because they're so colorful. Let's see if you can see this. So she put her house in a landscape, and she's got her tree with birds and a little friend walking her dog. But can you see this? So she's got like newspaper for the roof of the house. And the roof is open and some cardinals are flying out. But I like how she gave it the windows, little potted plants, a little side house here. Just different shapes that she was able to play with. I really like that. I like that kind of freedom to create your own little place. And we had one other book that she illustrated. This is called Sleep Like a Tiger, again from the library. And the very first page of this book is a city scene with a lot of houses. And again, she incorporates a lot of different papers and textures and shapes in here. Can you see that? And I really liked that, all the little details she adds in to her pictures. Oh, my dust jacket cover came off. But I got the moon up there, and the tiger is carrying a son, and she's riding a scooter. So there you go. There's some collage house ideas from picture books for you guys to explore. All right, so my kiddos, I mean collage, right? That's a thing that everybody does. There's something my son made 1,000,000 years ago. Just cut out shapes. In fact, sometimes even just random shapes, and then saw what they said to him. And he made a boat. And I don't know what else he had in here. Is this a cloud? I don't know. Are these clouds? Is it a whale? Is it a whale flying through the air? I don't know. Is this a tree? Maybe over here? I'm not even sure. I just love the colors. I love how they're playing together. So, oh, and he used like decal scissors to get zigzag lines on some of his pieces. And then my daughter had like a more literal idea when we did this. This was like one of my art classes 1,000,000 years ago, but she made a house and she got different color paper for the windows. She was drawing with pens, but she really wanted to focus on making a tree, and it had a tree house in it. And so she put a ladder going up to her tree house. So this was her idea of how to collage. So it was like just a piece of paper. And she cut out some grass for it. She cut out a roof. And the roof had a hole in it to put a window in. She colored that in with marker. And she glued these windows on there. So yeah, just playing with shapes, gluing things together. I have a couple leftovers too from some of my projects. So here's a mushroom house that I made. The sunny sky, and the sun is tissue paper. If you have any tissue paper, it gives it some nice three-dimensional texture there. And I cut out some grass. Made some fringy grass for the front of my mushroom house. Again, I had some wavy scissors, so I was able to play with that. These are really bright. I don't know why my camera is so faded out. But there you go, mushroom house. And then this one was one that I made more recently. I think just last year I made this one. So here we had some really cool pattern paper that I cut out to make clouds and a sun. I glued my sun on there. And then I was playing with squares and triangles. And I made a couple of houses with those squares and triangles. And this one I painted to give a bunch of details. So I gave some windows, some little extra roofs, and then I painted a tree. And I put, oh, here's smoke coming out the chimney of my house, the star. So I gave it like an autumn theme with some paint. So there's collage. This one I like to do the colored paper, but you could do a collage on white paper as well, if that's what you have in your sketchbook. So in my sketchbook, I made a collage. Let's see if I can, my sketchbook's getting pretty full. So here's the collage I made. I don't know if you can see this. I used the torn edge of the paper. Can you see that? It's not really in focus. So I used the torn edge of the paper to make this really kind of subtle line for my sunset. And I did it again to make the edge of my snowy field. But this one I tried to keep the shapes really simple and really bright colors to make it fun. So here's the collage. This one was actually inspired by Ezra Jack Keats' Snowy Day. So if that's a book. If you're so hot, it's the middle of summer and you're melting and you need to have a winter story, go check out that one, Ezra Jack Keats' The Snowy Day. And you can do a little art project with a little friend leaving footprints in the snow. So there's that. All right, guys, so really that's about it. Just have fun, play, see what you can do with some glue, tape, scissors, and your imagination. All right, so let's figure out what we're gonna do next week. Should we draw something out? All right, next week, we're gonna get out the paints. And what shall we do with them? Let's check this out. Oh my goodness. Dinosaurs. All right, so next week, we're gonna play with paint to make dinosaurs. I might have to pull up my, my dinosaur book again. Maybe we'll even have to read like a dinosaur poem together. Let's find out. All right, guys, have fun playing this week. Just enjoy cutting that paper and gluing stuff together and seeing what magic happens. I will see you next week. Stay well, have fun, take care.